Welcome to Caching Waves. This is an Elliott Wave update for Bitcoin. Now, if you watch my last video, none of these scenarios should take you by surprise. Also, if you follow me on Twitter, this is yesterday, I got into a long here, originally looking for this 5-wave move to the upside up to around 70K. If our low was in as the WXY, we're looking to pivot here as a double zigzag. And then I also suggested the fact that if we fail, I'm looking for my red path because we're right in that zone where we had either a third wave follow through or an ABC close to complete, and we'd go with our diagonal or wave A. So if you're not following me, sometimes I post these updates. It's at Caching Waves, caching_waves on Twitter. It'll always be Twitter to me. And yeah, sometimes I just post those setups on Twitter when I don't have time to make a video. So that goes with our alternative that we're looking for on the emergency update here, which is our diagonal to the downside. So this opens up a lot of different possibilities. If we go out to the daily, let's just go over our larger term counts here. If you've been following for a while, you know there's a lot of options, which makes things very difficult. What's clear to me here is, not clear to me, but it's going to be difficult to recover off the next pivot. You can see that's quite a few candles in a row where we're selling off. It makes it very low probability that we just shoot up from here. Obviously, anything's possible, but it makes it a pretty low probability at this point. So our most bullish count is hanging on by a thread, and that's where we had a, zoom out here. Since our high, this is our wave 3 high, we have a WXY, a zigzag X triangle to complete, and that was our low of our fourth wave that we need to hold. You can see we're back testing our trend line here right now, and this would be 3 nested 1-2s, which would be obviously an absolute takeoff, basically right at election time. So that's still technically valid. I'm going with the pivot back here at 65,596.29. If you remember, this was a very difficult count in here. I have this as WXY, but you can see how close to invalidation we are here. So it makes things pretty difficult for this current count. Now, my primary count, my bullish scenario, is that same thing. We had our triangle here, start our impulse from that low, and that we have a wave 1, 2, 3, triangle 4th, 5th. That fits the best as this is a completed impulse at this moment for me. There are other counts where this is like extremely bullish, but I think the triangle makes the most sense for the size of everything. So I'm going with this as my primary. Just to be clear, those that don't understand primary and alternative, it's the alternatives you're just tracking, but the primary is what's fitting guidelines the best right now, and that's what you make your trading decisions on. Sometimes both are going the same direction. That's ideal when that happens, but I base my trades off my primary, just to be clear. So if we have our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we're looking for an ABC to complete, a larger wave 2, and we should be looking between the 50% retracement and the 786. That's the most common area. Now, we can come a little shy of that, but that's our most common zone. So between 65,556 and 60,000, basically 61,000. That would be where we'd look for our pivot to the upside. So if we go down to the 1 hour, this is the path I'm tracking as of right now. Again, we've dropped below that wave 3, so technically we can be complete a wave 5 at that last pivot, but I would want to give it a little more time. I'm expecting a little drag sideways, make one more push down, and then we can look for our pivot. But it can technically be complete right now since we made a new low. So where I would look to confirm that a low is potentially in, at least for our A wave, is above this fourth wave pivot at 69,500. At that point, for my trading decisions, I'd want to see if there's a 5-wave move in there. And if we do get that, maybe I'd look to play that C wave within this B long and then look for my short after. This is also an area where we can get dragged out a bit, just to be clear. Right now it looks like a double zigzag down from that fourth wave, so this can even turn into like an indecision area where we get a triangle sideways, right? And our wave 4 is actually over here. Then we get our push down. So obviously just need more information on this candle, but technically our wave 5 can be complete. We'd want to hit ideally the 618, which is 66,932, and between 66,234 there. And invalidation of the diagonal is the 1-to-1 there. Let me just make this bigger for you. At 65,345.78. If we pass that, this can't be a diagonal anymore because the third wave would be the shortest. So that's the zone we're looking for a pivot. Ideally, we come down, hit that 618. Again, we technically made a new low, but how I would look to trade that is once we get down here, if we get down here, I'd look to play the wave 2 within this A wave, A, B, C, right? So I'd be looking for something like this once we get a completed count, wherever it is, something like this, and I'm just playing that move right there. All right, so technically complete. There is one more thing we have to consider. I don't want to consider this, but we have to consider that, is the fact that we could technically have a high in, at least for the foreseeable future. And what that would look like is a flat pattern. So we have our zigzag here, A, B, C. We get our X wave or B wave, and we either get 3 or 5 waves down. And what's happening here is we're either getting a combination WXY, if this ends up being a 3-wave move, or a flat as an ABC, as a regular flat here. And it's important to note that this can happen anywhere between the 90% and the 1.382 is the ideal area of this W or A wave to the downside. So we've reached the minimum requirement. And we've gone over how many different ways we can count this. No matter how you count this, there's a lot of options here. So we have to be on high alert that we can get a matching wave here for either a Y or C wave to the downside to complete. And that would eventually get our move to the upside, but we really don't want that. But you can see it's appears to be bearish price action for the next little bit. And so in this scenario, if we get a C wave, that's why I said it can either be an A wave or a wave 1. So if we put that back on, in the bearish scenario, I'll mock this up for next time. This is a diagonal. This can also be a wave 1 and 2, and we come down 3, 4, 5, right? But it would take some time. But we'd be challenging the lows there at around 50K. So lots to pay attention to here. And if something changes, I'll be sure to update that. But lots to pay attention to. yeah, we'll see how this pans out. I'd prefer us just get done here quick because we're looking for a zigzag, right? This is our diagonal A, B. I'd like to just get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's it, right? A, B, C. And then we can look for that long for the A wave here. But we'll see. Maybe this drags sideways, turns into some sort of triangle, then comes down. We'll see how this last wave pans out. But there's no trades here. My next trade's to the upside, right? Not enough risk reward to the downside there. What else? I feel like there's one more thing. So that's the important level there, that fourth wave. Breaking if we happen to come back up. Oh, the only thing I'm hanging on to here, and I'm only sharing this with you because we got election time and I'm expecting a lot of volatility coming up, depending who wins, how the market reacts to that, and we have so many accounts available, right? The only way I would consider this complete, the only way, and it's a rare pattern, is if we got a W, X, Y, X, Z. That's why I always mention in my videos that diagonals can appear as WXYs or WXYXZs, right? That's a triple zigzag. It's the exact same shape basically in labeling as a diagonal to the downside, right? So that would be if we break that wave 4, we come up with a pretty big 5-wave move. That's where I would want to get involved for that move to the upside. I know it's difficult tracking Elliott wave like this, but you have to be aware of these things. You'd hate to have it take off and not be aware of what can be happening because maybe you want to take that, right? Whether the next move is a third wave to the upside like crazy or just a C wave, right? That would be 2 counts going in the same direction. So yeah, interested in a long coming up, not quite yet, but I will make sure to update those videos. And if you're not following me on Twitter, you can check it out at caching_waves. I'll leave a link in the description below as well for you. But yeah, next move, looking for a long. Want to see one more move to the downside and then the reaction after. Reclaim the micro 4th wave. Just giving you examples. I track this in real time. If this is an ABC, we're looking for 5 waves down here in this final move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come down to our zone. Come down to our 618 there. Look for a micro 5-wave move, even down at like the 3-minute. Look for an ABC pullback sideways. That might be where I would take my entry, stop at that low. Or if it's a funky looking wave, I'll use the B wave break, stop at this low. So anyways, that's what I'm looking for. Remember, it can be technically complete now if this is actually a double zigzag to complete, but it doesn't appear like there's enough time yet. So I'm just going to wait that one out here. Give it a little bit more time. And I'll pay attention if we break that wave 4. All right, now I'm blabbing on. If you like my videos, can you be sure to like and subscribe? Hit the bell if you want them right away. Sometimes I post emergency ones like the one the other day. So no one should be taken by surprise of what happened. And yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one.